Hi, this is Olga Adler from Austin Businesswoman, and this is our first webinar from the Ask the Expert series, where we discuss topics that are important to everyone who wants to grow their business. And today our topic is Instagram marketing. And it's not a coincidence because in the past years, Instagram grew from a photo sharing social media app to one of the most powerful marketing applications in the world. So we invited a group of really experienced experts to talk about the tips, strategies, and the best trade secrets on how to grow your Instagram presence. I can't wait to introduce our experts. The first expert is Bianca Segundo, owner of Make It Bloom Media.
Hi
Bianca?
guys, my name is Bianca Segundo. I am the owner of Make Bloom Media. We are a branding, marketing, and we are a digital marketing agency, that specializes in branding, web design, and social media management. I help women create an authentic and unforgettable online presence.
Perfect. Our next speaker is Christina Garcia, owner of The Social Hour.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina. I'm the owner of The Social Hour, which is a social media and digital marketing agency where we focus on uplifting and getting everyone's social media businesses accountable and authentic.
Thank you. Our next guest is Katie Zukaitis, owner of The Social Reco.
Hi guys. So the Social Reco is a social media agency that focuses on done-for-you services for female owned businesses, female owned brands, and we really help women focus on feeling confident with conquering the gram.
Our next guest is Lori Kendall, owner of Brand Design Create.
Hi, so Brand Design Create focuses on creative marketing for small and mid-sized businesses. We do branding, web design, social media creation. We work on social media voice, and we also do marketing and advertising. The idea is that we can do any creative marketing for a small business all in one package to kind of let them just use one person instead of having to farm out to multiple different people at one time.
Thank you. Next is Jen Hanft, the owner of Joko.
Hi everyone, I am Jen and founder of Joko. I help amplify the voices of multi-passionate women so that their brands become irresistibly memorable and ooze personality. My sole mission is impact and being a catalyst for change and being able to just give women the tools to show up authentically as they are and have their stories be told.
That's what we all need. And the last but not the least is Yolanda Naggy, or as her followers know her, eating and sipping locally.
Hi everyone, my name is Yolanda, and she said I'm eating and sipping locally. My Instagram is focused all on farmers markets, and the local farmers markets. I share tips and different types of cuisine that you can use after you go to the farmers market. I also promote all the vendors and let people know about how to talk to the vendors, how to ask them questions, and what's the best markets to go to. And I'm glad to be a part of this team today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you all on board, and I really appreciate your participation. And let's jump to the nitty-gritty parts of our business. So let's say I'm a small local business and I just downloaded my Instagram app because my friends told me I should. And I created my account and I'm lost. I don't know what to do. So I need expert help. And how about Jen? What would you recommend I do first?
Well, definitely create like a full profile. So you're going to put your name, if you have your business name as well, what you do. Your bio is super important. So you're going to usually put your USP, which is your unique selling proposition. Most commonly people have it, I help X so that they can do Y. And so that will help people identify who you are, what you're an expert in, and how you can help those people achieve whatever they're supposed to achieve. And then I would include your links to your website or how to reach you, your email, all of that. And of course, have a profile picture because people like to see putting a face to a name, and having all of that set up will help you just have an account that people can find you and you can share your message and all of that.
Yeah, it's really important. And I think every business should try at least to show their face. Do you have anyone else who would like to contribute? Yolanda?
Yes, always keep in mind too that this might be a little ahead of the game, but if it's in a business account, make sure it states it's a business account. Don't mention what you love, what's your favorite color, and those type of things. Keep it very clear. Keep it your name and then a call to action. What you want them to do after they read your bio.
Call to action, exactly, because people need to know what you want from them, because otherwise they might not guess it. Anyone else want to contribute to the first question? Lori.
If you're just starting out and you're feeling a little bit intimidated, don't be afraid to look at other people in your space for inspiration, to see what they're doing and to kind of gain your confidence and kind of know that what you're doing is in line with other people in your business. And also just know that absolutely everything that you do is editable. There's not going to be a single person that sees you make a misstep whenever you first set up and are going to hold you to it. So if you choose the wrong picture that you don't like, if you make a mistake in your bio, it's 100% okay. So don't feel too bad about it. You can always just go back in and change it later.
That's true. Anyone else? Christina.
So going off of what Lori said, and connecting with the people who are in your industry, feel free to follow them and see who they're following and kind of engage with those people, because the more you create a community around you, it's easier to interact and engage with them.
And talking about the appearance of the account. So I filled my bio, I uploaded my best picture, I told people to buy my baskets that I weave on the weekends. What about the feed and aesthetic? Because everyone keeps talking about how your feed should look. How do we go about it? Is it important? And I would like Bianca to tell me about it.
Yeah, it's definitely important. And I think it really depends on your business. If you're a branding and website agency like I am, and you go to my site or my page and look at it, and my things are not, it's kind of everywhere. My feed's everywhere. Nothing's cohesive. I have random things here and there. Then you're kind of like, oh, she doesn't really know what she's doing. So I think it depends on your business, really. But a nice feed is good.
Anyone has tips on how to pick the right feed tone for yourself, theme or color scheme?
I think it's super important when you're starting your business to kind of create a kit for you. So kind of create a color scheme with certain fonts and stick to those when you're making graphics and posts. Also, it's okay to not know what you want your Instagram to look like. I think a lot of it's a trial and error, and you see something that you really like, then run with it. And it's okay to not know exactly what your Instagram is going to look like right off the bat. It definitely takes time, and just know that patience comes with it.
That's so true. Sometimes you just want to put all the prettiest pictures together and they just don't work. Yes, Yolanda.
Also, I think Canva is a very good app to use. It is very simple. It is straightforward. It's perfect for people who are just starting out. You can pick multiple colors under the brand kit, which you have to pay for, but a lot of the stuff on there is free. But if you pick the brand kit for Canva, it is so perfect because you can add your colors and your font, and you can always have your flyers, your posters, and everything always look the same. And so it's a good place to start.
I completely agree. And we have actually a couple of questions from our audience. Question about what are the good apps for editing pictures?
So personally for me, for what I use for my accounts is Lightroom. Lightroom is really easy in that presets are already designed and ready to go for you. So kind of back to what Yolanda was saying as far as having a brand aesthetic and coloring, even your filters. If your goal is to have a feed that is cohesive, you can use the same preset, which already like designs and does it all for you, which makes your feed, obviously attractive. The other thing though is Canva. Also, you can do this on your free options. You guys know how much I love Canva, but Canva is great because you can create your own preset on there too. So you can plug in all your photos, create a preset on there, and then again, it's a free app, and then you can use all of those photos so it's all cohesive too. So those would be the two that I would start with, only because they're the most user-friendly. So for someone that's not super familiar with Photoshop or Lightroom, it is just like, makes it so easy for you.
Yeah, I think Canva made a lot of us graphic designers from scratch because without it, it was Paint and PowerPoint, and which, we were struggling. Jen?
Yeah, I would, Lightroom is definitely my favorite as well, but some other free apps that are great are Snapseed. It's a great editing app, as well as Visco. Visco also has filters, so you could use that for the consistency and cohesiveness of your feed as well if Lightroom is a little too advanced.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else has tools, Christina? And
I use Tezza. I think that's a really great app as well. And I saw someone in the chat saying that Instagram planners help with aesthetic. That's definitely true. Looking at your grid and seeing and planning around then is great. But Tezza is a great app. It has a bunch of different presets that are good to use, as well as you can edit your own pictures, brightness, all that sorts.
Mm-hmm. Lori?
I actually pretty frequently use the editor that's within Instagram more often than I thought I would. Go in and play around with it and kind of see how changing each of those levels adjusts your pictures, and you'll start to kind of know which ones you like to change to get the best result that kind of fit your feed. But don't be afraid to kind of just go in, put in a picture knowing that you won't post it, and just play around with the different levels, and you'll start to figure out what each one does. And you can actually use just Instagram to get some pretty good results for pictures.
Okay. I think we all started there and then got greedy and started downloading a bunch of apps. And Bianca?
Yeah, so if you are a fan of scheduling out your content, Planoly is another great tool, and it's completely free. You can go and see your grid on there. So if you're not sure how your feed is going to look, schedule your content on there, and you'll be able to see each photo and how it's going to look. If you have too many photos in a row, if there are too many of the same color in a line, things like that. But Planoly is a great tool.
Mm-hmm. I agree. This is a lot of tools. We should later leave in the comments all the names of the tools so people don't get overwhelmed and lose them. Speaking of planning, I applaud all the people who plan ahead. But if you can't, if you're too busy or too lazy, do you actually have to post every day? Let's raise our hands who believes that you absolutely must post every day. Interesting. So all those internet sources were lying? Okay, so let's start with Katie. Why don't you think that we should post every day?
So here's my thing about posting every day. You see these really big accounts of people that have hundreds of thousands of followers, right? That they probably do post every day, or they now put up these carousel posts that are like post 2 or 3 times a day, post 18 stories a day, post video every day. It's a lot. And usually someone that has more than a couple thousand followers, or someone that, let's say, has 200,000 followers, they typically have a team that's sustainable for them, and they can delegate all of that to their team to handle all that. They just film and create the content. For small business owners, it's just not sustainable. We're now glamorizing, a little bit more about social media breaks, because I think we've probably all taken one before, and we've seen a huge impact in what that's done to us mentally, what it's done for us for creativity. And posting it every single day, you do not need to be successful to do that. It is really what is sustainable for you and for your brand. And I, as an Instagram coach, I don't coach women to post every day. I post what they're comfortable with and comfortable with committing to, because that's kind of how the burnout starts, right? When you want to start posting every single day, you get burnt out. You do end up running out of creativity because you're just like only doing it for posts. You're not doing it because you enjoy it. And we're not doing it to be social, which is all what a social app is. So at the end of the day, it's really about what's sustainable for you. And unless you have a team of 10 people that are handling your Instagram, posting every single day is just not sustainable for you.
Yeah, and it seems that everyone else agrees with you. Does anyone else want to elaborate on this question?
I got real passionate there. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's good. Oh, Jen wanted to add.
No, just to piggyback off of Katie, like I completely agree. Do what feels good for you, and that looks different for everyone. Don't be shy. Like people tell you that you have to post every day. You don't. And honestly, it comes down to quality over quantity. You don't want to post just to post to put something out there. You want to post, and when you do, it's going to make an impact and be valuable to your ideal client.
Yeah, I agree. And since we started talking quality versus quantity, we have people who are in different kinds of businesses. There are businesses who have a lot of visual content for photographers or, say, bakers, or they sell products. But what do we do if we are a mix of services and products, or if we just sell services and we are at a loss? What would be the tips for the most engaging and high converting type of posts that you've seen in your experience for all these groups of businesses? And I'd like to start with Lori.
I mean, honestly, it's going to vary by business, and it's going to vary pretty specifically by individual and the type of audience that they have. I have clients from all over every single industry, and something works different for each different client. For services, a lot of times how-to posts do really well, giving people value content that they can kind of like take in and learn a little bit more about what you do and see your expertise. For other people, it's actually kind of putting up your value system. So who you are as a person and individual, and kind of highlighting that aspect of who you are. So really whatever part of your industry or your personality resonates the most, and you'll kind of do that by trial and error and trying this thing and that thing and seeing how your audience reacts to it. That's usually what I recommend for my clients, is like, hey, let's try a couple of different directions. Let's highlight a couple of things about you, whether it's your personality, your service, your knowledge, and see kind of how your audience reacts to that.
Perfect. Does anyone else want to add? Okay. And a lot of people now are feel a lot of pressure that they are not producing reels or videos, because Instagram is now turning into some hybrid of TikTok. And there are dance moves, and there are people among us who put us all to shame because they're really good at it. But do we benefit from posting videos and reels on Instagram? So I want Jen to talk to us about it. And you know why I'm asking.
Yeah. Honestly, I think right now, since the video portion of things of Instagram are being pushed a lot, it's just a way to quickly connect with people. It's a lot more towards entertainment, but you could also use it as a way to serve value quickly to your target audience, whether it's how-to or a tutorial or behind the scenes of what you're working on. You don't necessarily have to dance if you don't want to. I feel like you could even just do text posts and kind of have that go through, but the reach on Reels is exponential. There are cases where it can go viral and you can reach a lot of people, and that could turn into conversions for you. So it's just a matter of extra visibility and exposure to different types of audiences across the platform. They might not necessarily be your target audience, so that's just something to keep in mind, since usually the nature of Reels is more so for the entertainment side of things.
Okay. Does anyone have anything to add?
I think on top of that, for Reels specifically, it is a way for us to connect and find like-minded people in an easier way, kind of like what Jen was talking about. So it's easy to find, I mean, we've seen the rise of TikTok specifically because people now are seeing videos and not just like static posts or graphics of someone that is relatable to them. So, you know, for women, it's like, oh, she looks just like me, or, whoa, she does something very similar, or, oh, her home looks like mine. I love her style, just things like that. There's a lot of relatability there that we weren't getting before with the static posts or with the caption or with the graphics, excuse me. So because of that, it's starting to snowball audiences faster because again, that relatability. And it's we're able to see a lot more people be creative and try different things, and things that are trending now. Like 2 years ago, we would have been like, that is so weird. Why is that person doing that? But the trending and the trendability is what's really attractive about the videos. So, and I understand how difficult it can be to start, especially showing our face, because it's kind of scary and we're not ready to do that yet. But people are buying from you. They're not buying from a post. So the more that we can see you and your face and your personality, the easier it is going to be to make a sale, because we know who we're buying from. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's building trust.
Totally.
Definitely.
Totally.
Anyone want to add anything? Lori.
So I was actually incredibly intimidated, and still am a little bit, by video content because it wasn't my wheelhouse. So I started to pay attention to my favorite creators who were posting video and really watching what they were doing. And some of them do dances and some of them do really incredible things, but a lot of them are actually makeup free in a bathroom, in their living room, just talking to me. And not a single time have I ever thought about how they presented themselves. I really do focus 100% on the content. So I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be entertaining and interesting and beautiful and all these different things. But at the end of the day, you can literally just be in front of your camera with no makeup on. And as long as you have something that you're passionate about, people will listen and they'll really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. So what are, apart from reels and videos, what are other ways to increase your engagement? Let's do one tip per person, starting with Bianca. Bianca?
Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to get unmuted. My button was stuck.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be muted. You're muted. You're talking now.
Yeah.
So give us a tip how to improve your engagement.
Sure. So one way that I like to improve engagement is to engage with others. Don't just wait for people to come to you and like your stuff and comment and follow you. You need to go out and do those things. So,
but that's actually work.
It does. It is work, but you got to put in the work to get some results. So
that's a trick that many people don't know about.
Yeah. So you need to go out there and find people that are in your target audience, go out there and follow them, go and like some of their posts, go and comment a few words, valuable comments, not just that's nice or an emoji here, a heart emoji there. Make valuable comments. Another thing is show up in your stories consistently. So another thing with what we were talking about earlier is video. People like stories, not just because they're long form length videos, but they're short clips most of the time in your stories. And yeah, it's those videos that are raw and people love those moments. So that's another thing for stories. It's great. It works.
And they disappear. So if you're embarrassing and awkward, nobody will find it. So now, Christina, do you have anything to add to this list of cool tips?
Yeah, I also think something that I've noticed is kind of engaging with your followers before and after you post. Kind of just reach out to them. If they have some polls on their stories, participate in those polls. Also, I think hashtags are a great way. Instagram actually just announced that they prefer Instagram hashtags in the caption and not in the first comment. So that is something very interesting. So yeah.
You have to keep up with Instagram, and they keep changing the rules.
Yeah, every day is something new.
And how do you pick relevant hashtags for your business?
I definitely think there's a hashtag strategy to certain businesses, and I think it definitely depends on the kind of business you're in. I always recommend doing 5 low, 5 medium, 5 high, and that all depends on the followers that you have and the amount of followers and your conversion rate to likes as well. And so it really just depends, and it's just good research and seeing what your community is hashtagging as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Katie, do you have any tips?
Yeah, for engagement. So one of my little baby hacks is I like to have a lot of conversations in the comment section. So essentially when someone comments on one of my photos or one of my reels, I want to start a conversation there to obviously increase the comments, but also to take that cold lead into more of a warm lead, because now that's an easy transition for me to place them in my DMs. So if I can create some type of conversation in my comments, instead of just saying, like Bianca was saying, pretty or cool, I'm like, that's so cool. How did you do that? What app did you use? You know, they answer to that. And then now that's a way for me to DM them and say, hey, look, I love the app that you're using. I want to learn more about it. Do you have like a couple minutes to hop on the phone and kind of tell me about it? It's just an easy way to create engagement. And then of course, Instagram is saying, whoa, this person is spending a lot of time on this post or a lot of time on this content. I'm going to continue to push content towards this audience. And then I'm also going to continue to push my specific content to them too. So just by staying on a post, my goal is to keep people on my page as long as possible. And then the next step is into my DMs or onto my website. So by doing that, I want to create a type of community. And that starts honestly just even in the comments, or like Bianca was saying, engaging with other people. And then also Christina mentioned hashtags too. So by utilizing all those, my goal is to keep people engaged through comments that then leads, into a DM or on a website.
Absolutely true. You get rewarded for the time you spend.
Totally.
Looking at other people's content.
Yep.
Lori, do you have anything to add?
Sure. For people who are just starting out and trying to get it figured out how to increase engagement, I usually recommend do unto others as you'd want them to do unto you. So if you ever get a comment that makes you super happy, pay attention to that and try to mirror that back to somebody else. If somebody asks a question on Instagram that gets you very engaged, pay attention to what that question asked and why you were engaged with it. If someone sends you a DM that you actually respond to and that cold DM message actually got you to start a discussion with that person, take a note about what that was, because I guarantee you that your target audience is going to respond very similarly. So a lot of times we as consumers have the information necessary to start mirroring those behaviors and sort of developing engagement strategies that way.
A lot of empathy. And I think that's where being a woman comes in, because that's what we do, emotional intelligence. Jen?
I think collaborating is a big key component to all of this. So like what we're doing right now on this webinar, connecting with other people, whether that's within your industry or outside of your industry. You could do IGTV lives together and just really have an opportunity to tap into each other's networks and support each other that way. Because at the end of the day, your network is your net worth, and the people you know is what helps you further reach and expand your impact and your messaging.
Thank you. So now we've risen the stakes for Yolanda. Do you have anything to add to all of this mass of tips?
Absolutely. I mean, all of it's such great tips, and sharing is something that I love to do. And I definitely do check my DMs. And when they ask about something about the farmers market, for example, when I do a listing or an idea of a flyer or post, I always tag people and let them know, hey, I heard, you asked about this. I'm going to tag you and make people feel a little bit more special, because now they feel like they have it. And then it stays in their feed too. It stays in their box rather. And so that's a good way, I think. And hashtagging is so important. And it's always also important to check those hashtags. So many people do not check the hashtags. They just like, oh, if they have a picture that says with the sun shining and they got a pretty outfit on, that's what they're tagging. Like pretty outfit, sun is shining, today's mood. You have to look at those hashtags and make sure that you are using them the appropriate way, because when you start getting all kind of random people looking at your stuff, you'll wonder why. It's because your hashtags are all over the place. So it's very important to look at those hashtags before you just use them freely, because some of them can have some negative terms to them. I mean, I've had work with people where they've used a hashtag and that hashtag had to deal with people rioting in another country, and so that's not what you want to see. You want to make sure that when you push on that hashtag, it is showing exactly what your business represents as well and stuff. So I always go by the hashtags. They're very important. And I always tag people, and I share too. I always share people's information on my story. If they have something that they've done really well, or they have a magazine out that they've written an article, I share their information on my story. And it makes them feel really good, because then they reshare it back, and then I get their audience and they get my audience. And another thing that we mentioned too, that people think that you can post and you can just leave. You cannot post and just walk away. You have to have that time. If you've got time to make a really great post, you've got to have 30 to 40 minutes after that post, so you can really engage with people. And if I'm tagging people, I'm liking their stuff. I'm just not tagging random people. I'm tagging them because I'm liking their stuff and I'm asking them to share my stuff. So I try and do 30 minutes before I start a post, just saying hi to everybody, see how everybody's doing, see what people are posting about, and then I will put my post out and then go back. And if I ask a question at the end, which sometimes work, but a lot of people don't look at those questions sometimes. It's like, do you do that too? They don't even look at it. So when they do I'll go in and see who liked it, and then I'll go, hey, Jen, do you cook too? And they go, oh, okay, well, I guess I have to answer that question now. Then that's how the conversation starts. So that's a great way to engage as well.
Yeah, engaging, sharing, being mindful of other people, not just putting this out there so other people spend time on it while you're doing something else. So yeah, these are great tips. And we actually have a comment from Melina in the audio from our viewers, and she said that hashtags with a smaller following will likely get you more noticed, 5 million versus 5,000. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, I think especially if it's a local business, that's gonna get you further. And then there's a topic that it's a totally different conversation, and if you're interested, you can ask our speakers for professional advice. But there are things like banned hashtags that Instagram can penalize you for, so you should be mindful of those too. Okay, and so let's jump to the next question, talking about banned and things that are not allowed. It's so tempting sometimes to try to grow your following in a not very organic way, because there are so many offers. You get these messages offering you to buy real followers and get engagement and get into this engagement pods where people are going to be sharing and commenting on your stuff like crazy. Is it a good idea or not? Let's start with Jen.
Absolutely not. And the reason why is, aside from buying these fake or real followers, right, you're not attracting your ideal audience. You don't know where they're from, what they like, what they don't like, or if they're even real. So it's kind of inflating your account to focus on vanity metrics, which is not what you should be focusing on. You should be focusing on building a strong, loyal community, and doing that is through just sharing your story, being able to resonate and have deep connections. And it's funny because there's a lot of businesses that have a small following, but they are very successful in what they do because they attract the right people. They are trusted. They have that credibility. You don't have to have a large following to be successful. And that's something that is often glamorized, especially on the online space. And it's better to focus on building those strong connections, because at the end of the day, that's what converts.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Does anyone want to add to this?
I have to. I'm sorry, Chris. I have to chime in that. That is something we need to just keep telling people. Everybody, you do not need a large following. People are like, I need followers. It's like, well, how about hanging out with the people that you already have? Talk to those people. It's just like,
also, if you're a small business,
it's your audience right there. Talk to those people in your backyard.
I know, if you're a solopreneur, can you actually service 5 million people? Probably not.
No.
So if you're a small business, it's better to focus on the small community that you're growing. And sometimes you look at people's accounts and they have 300 followers and 300 likes on each post. And then you see a huge account and they have as many likes. It tells you something. And Christina wanted to add.
Yeah, I think it speaks to your authenticity too of your brand. If you're looking at a brand and looking to work with a brand, you want to know that they got those followers from authentically being themselves and engaging with their community. I think a big thing too is whenever I work with brands and influencers, I can check and see if they bought followers or likes. And so you want to know that their conversion rate is real. You want to know that they're a real person and they don't care about the vanity of having a ton of likes. They know that they're going to get there organically. And that also is a lot of respect to those who do have all those followers and they did it authentically. Like, good for them to do that. And you want to pride them. And I think buying followers also will get you ghosted. And that is something that you think you're having all these likes and followers, but yet no one's seeing your posts because Instagram is flagging your account.
You're going to be transparent whether you want it or not. Instagram will see everything, and people who will spend a minute to check your following, they will see this people without profile pictures with a bunch of numbers in their name, and that's probably not a real follower, even if they promised you that they would be real when you bought them.
Right. And it's hard. It's very hard to get a brand out of that ghosting phase. So you don't want to be in the first place.
Yeah, you don't get second chances.
A large part of like what Christina just talked about is that purchasing followers, at the end of the day, it kills your engagement rate, which is how you get 20,000 followers and you get 3 likes. Because like you said, the conversion is totally off. So because it messes with your engagement rate, and again, what Jen said, you're not in front of your right audience. And so you can be putting out really, really great content for people that need it or want it, but you're getting missed entirely because your engagement rate is so low. Instagram's not pushing your content. So that alone, whether, again, you've got 300 or followers or 3,000 or 30,000, whatever, the engagement rate is what really matters when it comes down to working or collabing with a brand, and not just the metric at the top. It's more about do people go onto your website, or what is the engagement rate? How many people are really interested in what you post, and not just some big number at the top of it.
We'll agree with this. Anyone else want to share?
I just want to say numbers don't define you.
Exactly. Numbers don't define us. And speaking about numbers and metrics, say for the example's sake, I'm a basket weaver, and I've been putting up my behind the scenes of the weaving business and posting my stories and reels and engaging, but I'm not an expert. I don't know what engagement rate is. I don't know anything about those terms. How do I know I'm doing great or I'm not doing great? What other indicators are going to tell me that I should try harder or maybe ask someone for professional help? I'm going to ask Bianca.
Sure. So your insights will tell you a lot. You can go to your main profile and you'll see the word insights right above your highlights. This will tell you which of your posts is performing best, at what times of the day you're getting the most hits, the demographics of your audience. All those different things play a big part in whether your posts are doing great, whether or not. If you're posting early in the morning and you're getting no hits, but you know this post is stellar, but you're getting no likes, no comments, no engagement, no nothing, then that might be the reason. Just your target audience is not by their computer that time of day, or they're just busy. They can't get to their phone. They're not, you have to look at your insights, and that will tell you a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. I know that Yolanda knows a lot about engagement and the metrics. Can you share anything with us?
Well, Bianca is right. I think that's a very important thing to look at your insights. That also shows you that you don't need to post 7 days a week too. When you look at your insights, it tells you exactly what's the best days to post. And that's where I try to really focus on those best days to post and put them information out and stuff. Yeah, the insights are very, very important. It's surprising that a lot of people do not look at them, and they need to, because there's so much great information. It tells you, I can move my audience towards all women, because that's who follows me mostly, is all women. So I make sure when I'm putting a post out, I think about women and what they like and what they might want to know and stuff. So I think that's one very important thing is that insight. With that, you're golden because it really helps you move through Instagram a lot better, and it saves you a lot of time.
Yeah, I completely agree. We will have to jump back to the previous topic because we have a question from Emlyn, and she says that she has a lot of followers that look like bots that followed her. Does she need to deal with them somehow, unfollow them or delete them? Will it affect her engagement rate, just having those followers? Christina?
Unfortunately, it will affect your engagement rate, but it's okay because you can fix it. It does take time though. So when you get a bot follower, one way to identify it is if they have a lot of numbers in their username. If you look at their page and they don't have any posts, or you can tell a fishy account. And so what you want to do is slowly remove these followers from your page. If you do it very quickly, Instagram may flag you for spamming. So that's something to consider, but it's okay because you're going to get your engagement back. It's not the end of the world. Jen can speak a lot to this, so I'm gonna give that one to her.
Jen?
Oh yeah, I was attacked by a lot of bot followers and spam comments. So kind of going into this realm, yes, remove them at a slow pace. I actually removed quite a bit using an app because I got flooded with thousands of bot followers. So I used an app, it's free. It's called Unfollower. You attach your Instagram account to it and you can flag all of the fake accounts. It's pretty easy to spot. Christina mentioned they usually have weird usernames, no posts, following a lot of people. And so you could remove them that way. I've tried to remove them manually. It takes a lot of effort just because there's no way to like multiple click a bunch of them or select a bunch of the accounts and delete them in one go. You have to go one by one, and it's a very tedious process. But aside from that, for spam comments, Instagram actually, around the time that I got harassed, introduced a new feature called limits, and it's in your settings under privacy. Limits basically helps you limit the amount of activity on your page from recent followers or people that are spamming you. So you can limit them for whatever duration of time that you would like. You could do it from like 1 day, a few days, a week. They have options for months if you want to do that too. That's really up to you, but it will help limit that, as well as there's filters for comments where you can filter out spammy typical words like buy followers or DM me or something like that, so that you can filter those out and have it hidden. Or of course, anything that's, not appropriate, you could have that filtered out as well. But those tips will probably help save you a lot of time and heartache.
Yeah, that tool definitely came in at the right moment. And speaking of harassment and bots, what are the good practices to protect your account from spam, from hacking, which happens a lot, unfortunately, it happens to the best of us. What should you do to make sure you don't give them a chance to steal your information? I'd ask Katie.
As far as spams and bots, I mean, Jen kind of hit on a lot of it right there, but specifically focusing on Instagram's best practices. So making sure that you are following all of those. You can see any and all of those, I mean, really on any platform. Also, if you do anything really too quickly, is a flag. So like Jen was saying, if you unfollow a lot of people or you remove people, or if you're a social media manager and you have a couple different accounts, or even if you have a personal account and then also a business account, if you're logging in and out and moving too much, I mean, it's basically all kind of flagging Instagram. So in order to avoid that, those are things that I would specifically be looking for. The other thing is focusing on having a two-step verification when it comes to hacking. So, and I'm sure one of the other girls will talk about that too, but having an option where it's very difficult for someone else to log in. I have the two-step setup that if it is from an unknown device, I get a text message So making sure that you have that set up in your settings to avoid hacking. And then also being in constant communication with Instagram, and then also constant communication with Facebook about what's going on. You can get your account back. It is a lot of hard work. I've unfortunately had to do it a couple times for my clients, but it is possible. So those are the main things I would focus on, making sure that you're staying in the guidelines, making sure that you have a two-step verification, and then constant communication as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Does anyone else want to add something? Okay, we have a couple more questions from our audience, and Luisa and Joanna are actually asking, because we talked about posting every day, we talked about regular posts or reels. What about stories? Raise your hand who thinks that we need to post stories every day. Yolanda, tell us why.
It's just fast, it's quick, it's easy. It lets people know I'm still alive. Because sometimes I like to just say, hey, I'm out of town this week, or I'm doing something great this week. So you guys have a good time. But I like to let people know that I'm around, even if I don't post something every day. And I've learned how to just cut that down. I go for about 3 to 4 days, I'll post. But in between, but I always post the markets too. So every day I'm putting the list of the farmers markets on my story so people can know what's going on in Texas. But I like the story. It's just a quick way to jump in and say, hey, how you doing? How is everybody? Okay, bye. And so
there probably can't be one single answer, because your Instagram is going to be as unique as we all are. So it's whatever speaks to your personality. And I think everyone would agree that someone just wants to check out with their audience every day, several times a day, and someone is more of an recovering introvert who is afraid of even showing their face. So, and Joanna said that she posts stories every day. So see,
that's okay too.
It's okay too. And also your account pops in the front, on the top, whatever it's called, line, when you share something new. So a good way to stay current. And speaking of good practices and everything, what if it becomes too overwhelming and you just realize that, like, I want to weave my baskets, I can't catch up with Instagram, I can't research hashtags, I don't want to do it. So when is a good time I should either outsource Instagram or find a coach who will teach me some practices to do it really quick or automate it? Bianca, what do you think?
I think this depends on your budget. Is it within your budget to outsource, or can you DIY or learn from somebody else? Even doing like Google searches, YouTube, following coaches on Instagram to do it yourself. So I think it really depends on your budget, whether you can outsource that, but there are definitely DIY things that you could do also.
Mm-hmm. Gloria, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, the main thing here, if you look online, you will find plans that will tell you the absolute perfect way to do social media where you will get the most engagement ever. The problem usually comes with small business owners with not having the resources like time or money to actually implement the plan like that. So the best thing that you can do is take an honest look at your resources, whether that's time, money, if you have somebody that can help you out, and then decide how best to use those to get the best response. So if you have a little extra time, DIY it. If you absolutely do not have the time, see if you can set aside a little extra money to hire somebody to do it. Usually people have packages where on the lower end, you can get something that's already pre-made that might not cost very much. You can buy templates, you can do things that are inexpensive and might not be as effective, but are helpful. And then you can kind of, as you grow, move into these more robust kind of like hire a social media manager to do everything for you. But the goal is to really take whatever resources you have available and just make the absolute most out of them. And don't feel bad if you can't do the absolute most perfect social media plan, because most of us can't.
That's true. Does anyone else want to chime in this question? Katie.
Yeah. So hopefully, kind of what Lori was saying, hopefully if someone is so busy with their business, they're doing really well and that they do need to outsource. Obviously, that's not always the case because some people are parents or they have a second job till they can get there. I mean, it just kind of depends. But hoping that you are a female entrepreneur kicking butt, you're so busy, that's when you know it's time to resource or outsource, excuse me. If you are not getting what you need, this is what I tell my clients, if you are not getting the results that you want from your Instagram, it is time to speak to someone, whether that is outsourcing, whether that is coaching, whether that's just even like a 1 hour session with someone to kind of like light a fire on your butt, whatever it is. If you're not getting the results that you want and you see maybe your competitors are, and you have it in your budget, absolutely, it's time to outsource or it's time to reach out to a coach. And a lot of times, if social media is just an additional job and you really don't enjoy doing it and you do it because you know it's important, but you don't like it, it's also time to outsource. Find someone that enjoys it, but is also really, really good at it. Before I started outsourcing, I had another business and I was outsourcing someone to help me with more HR work. And it would take me hours to do something. And your time is just way too precious for that. I hired someone that could get it done in 30 minutes because they were professional at it. So why spend 3 hours of my time doing something that I didn't like and I wasn't very good at for someone to come in and do it for 30 minutes? And it saved me so much. And I was able to say yes to a lot more things and to actually bring in more income because I wasn't doing something that was so mundane and something I didn't enjoy. And then on top of that, obviously I've got great results from it. So, and great income from that. So focusing and making sure, kind of what Lori was saying too, that it is the right person and it's someone that fits you and fits your vibe, and you're not just hiring someone that you saw on Google. Look at someone on Instagram, look at their content. Do you like what they post? Do you like that? Do you like how they speak to their followers? Or, all that kind of stuff does make a difference. So understanding if you're not getting what you want out of your social media and you're spending so much time and you're spinning your wheels, it's definitely time to outsource.
Yeah, and if it doesn't spark joy, just outsource it.
Exactly. Joy. Yes.
There are some business people who just love making content. They just love sharing, and so for them it's easy. So and now a tricky question: should we put all eggs in one basket and just rely on Instagram, even if it's working very good for us? What would be the perfect combination of promotional tools that work for small businesses? Who would like to start? I think Jan would like to start first.
Yeah, never put all your eggs in one basket, especially what if one day Instagram shuts down completely? You just lost your connection to your entire community. So a lot of the focus that you should put in is just different areas of social media is helpful. Having a website that you own completely is very helpful so that people can always find you. They can find information on how to work with you, and it's yours. You control that. Same thing as your email list. Build an email list so that you can continue to connect and build that relationship with your community, because that is a huge tool that most people don't spend time on. Other avenues could be Pinterest, speaking engagements, collaborating with other people and leveraging other people's networks, or even the old-fashioned way, going out in person and making connections that way. But at the end of the day, you need to focus on the avenues that you can own and control, which are usually your website and your email list.
Mm-hmm. This is very valuable. Thank you. Lori?
Yeah. People need to see you as many times as possible and in as many places as possible to really understand your sales message, to learn to trust you, and also to be ready to go from being a lead to actually turning over and purchasing your service. So the more places that you can be present, the more frequently that people see your message and in a variety of different ways, the better it's going to be for you. And also, whatever marketing works for an individual is going to be as varied as the individuals that we have as our customers. So somebody who's going to turn over because they got an email is going to be very different than someone who turns over because they saw a social media ad or saw an ad on TV. So the more variety you have in your marketing plan, the more effective, and also the more times that your audience can see you, the more likely you're going to be to actually have them turn into one of your customers.
Mm-hmm. Katie?
I mean, I agree with everything, but absolutely. I mean, kind of what Jen said too, I always think about this. Like, if Instagram were to shut down tomorrow, how would I find new clients? And that's why email list is so, so important. And even getting traffic, or, you know, an easy way to do that is have a freebie on your website, you know, that basically gathers all those warm leads too. I mean, social media should not be the last thing that you focus on to growing your brand and growing your audience. It is a way to continue doing that and to help your brand flourish, but it should not be the only way. We're all on here talking about how successful Instagram can be because of that. So that's obviously what we're focusing on, but that is not the only way. We just talked about getting hacked. If you get hacked, you've got 600,000 followers. You know, now it's all gone. You go straight to your email list and you let everyone know what's going on. You know, we should not be solely relying on Instagram. Having other social channels obviously helps, but number one is an email list, for sure.
Email list, it's important. So if you like some business, you want to support them, always go to their website and subscribe to their newsletter or email list. Don't be afraid of spammy content, and think twice before you actually put something to spam, because maybe it's your favorite brand just trying to give you a really exclusive discount or a new offer on update that you might benefit from, and you just, you know, put them in spam and you missed out on a really great opportunity. And time flies. We've been online for almost an hour, so we can talk about this forever, but our viewers can follow each of our speakers on their social media and keep getting a lot of value and tips from them. And I would ask each speaker to share some last tip or wishes for the viewers, for people who are trying to grow their online presence. Let's start with Bianca.
So, one more chat about video. I am just getting started with Reels myself, and it's really hard to get out there and put your face out there, do silly dance moves, and talk about things I'm passionate about and spreading my knowledge. It's hard. It's hard to get out there and talk in general. We have to try to do it. We have to try to do it. Even if it is one time a week that you're on Reels, or show up in stories on video, or going live. Try to do it at least once a week. Try to do it.
Try to get out of your comfort zone. Christina.
I think it's definitely okay to not know what you're doing at first, and to test a lot of different things. As you can see on my page, that's kind of what I'm doing now. Seeing what I like to do, not what Instagram likes me to do, is also another thing to focus on. And same thing with outsourcing. When you are getting so stressed and not focusing on the core of your business, that is when it's time to outsource. At the Social Hour, we say, let us do the marketing, you the business. And so that's just something to kind of take away, and for you to kind of just look into your page and see what's going on.
Thank you. Katie.
Yeah, so no account is the same. What works for me may not work for Lori. What works for Lori may not work for Bianca. So at the end of the day, it's really just about staying authentic to you, what you can commit to, and just having a damn good time. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's all about being social, right? We forget that part. We put so much pressure on having a perfect feed and having the perfect photo and having all this stuff, but you will attract the right people to your page just by being yourself. So any expectations you have or that you think you should be, stop pretending to be someone that you're not on social media. Stick to being true to yourself, and you will continue to grow. I promise.
Yeah, I completely agree. Authenticity, be true to yourself. Lori.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to start. So get out of your own head. Don't stress about whether or not it's going to look right, whether you're going to do it right. This is a creative process that you learn over time, and you get better at it the more that you do it. So the most important thing for you to do is literally to just start posting. And if it's not great, or if people, sorry, my dog, if people, don't really respond to it, it's 100% okay. That's a part of the process, and it's just as valuable as all of those posts that you're going to do that are going to be amazing. So just go ahead and get started and post as often as you can and as authentically as you can.
Yeah, think less and just do it.
Exactly.
Jen.
Yeah, honestly, echoing everyone, I honestly believe, like, at the end of the day, as Katie said, be true to who you are. Authenticity is key, and people buy from people. So don't be afraid to share your story, to show up as you are. Even the raw, real moments, that's what really gets people. It's what really resonates. Don't be afraid to pivot. No one has everything figured out. Like, it's just, everyone glamorizes how easy it is to hit 10K months or to do whatever. But at the end of the day, like, entrepreneurship is hard. Okay. So it's okay if you have your good days, if you have your bad days, but no matter what, I just want you to celebrate your wins, whether they're small, whether they're large. Like, every 1% forward is still that 1% forward. And then a year from now, you're going to have a year of experience. So really, it's just keep trudging, keep going forward, and don't be afraid of what's to come, because change is a beautiful thing, and we all learn and we all grow.
Thank you. That's really beautiful. And Yolanda.
Last words. That was really good. For me, I think focus on who's following you. Just get to know the people that are actually following you, and don't worry about increasing your followers. That will come in time. I think it's so important to engage with the people that is already showing up to see you and want to talk to you and want to be a part of what you're doing and stuff. And so that has made me get out of my comfort shell and start doing live shows. I'm like, Bianca, I don't want to be on the screen, but I'll go on my stories and I'll do a quick live show at the farmer's market, and I get more people say, God, thank you. I needed that tour. I get a lot of, it feels good. It's like, and I'm always like, God, is my hat on? It's always something. So I don't even look at myself anymore. I just get on and go, hey, it's your girl Yolanda. And I just start talking, and I just cut it off because I don't have to see it. You guys have to see it, for 24 hours. But I get a good response back. So focus on the people that are showing up, and and people will follow, and things will, your account will grow.
Thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. Grow your community, build trust, list your business on Austin Businesswoman. And thanks to all of our amazing speakers. You are truly a force of nature. And thank you to Restream for this service, for spreading the word. And see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.